think the most important thing is to set the tone for the day. So in the morning I have a slide. I have a slide for every transition that tells them what they need to do. And some of my friends don't read well, but the other kids in the class will read to them. We'll get the day started. Our transitions are 2 minutes or less, and we practice that from day one. And the first time we make under 2 minutes, we do a surprise, like a prize box or bolt bucks or that sort of thing. We try to keep all of our materials handy at the desks. That way we're not getting up. They're not allowed to go to their backpacks during the day. They can go in the morning and in the afternoon. And we have, could you want to turn these are their mailboxes. So anything they get from the day, and even their other teacher, Miss Milam, comes in and files their stuff for them. So then they, at the end of the day, they have a take-home folder, and whatever's there, they just pack it up. Even if they make crafts or something. So saving time on transitions and having all of our materials with us, we get a lot more of the curriculum in. Also, I'm able to give immediate feedback. I'm up and around and talking and maybe correcting right away, which is good for them to find any misconceptions and not be practicing in those and practicing in the correct way to do things. Cleaning up for anything to go outside takes less than 2 minutes, just because we practice. So, and all of that saves me time so that I can, if they're really taking their 30 minutes of intervention time where they're all in quiet, independent work situation, I can sit down and maybe grade something that we did. That way I can make sure if I don't need to stop them and talk to them about that instead of the next day, or let's face it, 3-4 days later. So
hey everybody, so excited to share with you how I help try to keep track with time. So I have our lovely schedule for the entire day up on the board. I have all of our times, both written digital and analog. I do teach 4th grade, so just kind of keep that part in mind. And one of the things that I do is while I'm working on any of these particular pieces during my day is I will pause and I'll ask the kids, hey, how much more time do I have in numerical fluency? How much more time do I have in science? And the kids will look over here to figure out when the next piece is, and then they will look over to my wall, which I have a digital clock on one wall and an analog clock on another, and they will calculate estimating time, or for math, compatible numbers, and they figure out about how long I still have, and then they share that part with me. So that also helps me keep on track as well, is because if I get close to that time, the students will turn around and start to go like this, or they physically are going to point to my clock on my wall, which tells me that's a non-visual cue of, hey, you have literally run out of time. And there are so many times that I have to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, we have run out of time for numerical fluency today. It is now time for us to move into problem solving. Or hey, guess what? We've run out of time for science today. I make a note of where we left off, and then I figure out how I can calculate that into the next day. Is it something that I want to revisit? Is it something that I'm going to revisit a separate style of problem? Like in math, I might do a similar problem the next day to get that content back in. While we were working on things, the kids figured out that they wanted to do math rotations during our main math block. So they asked me to put up those times. And so during my main mini lesson for math, I asked them, how many more minutes do I have before we're supposed to get to math rotations? They do the calculations of that elapsed time, and it helps keep everybody on track.